Well, it seems like Manchester United don't want to let me do anything else today apart from talk about Manchester United. I'm here with an impromptu, probably the first ever 3 p.m. stream, randomly on a Wednesday here on United People's TV. But with everything that's going on right now, with our search for a new manager, our scramble for a new manager, however you want to describe it, it's somehow Manchester United have managed to turn finding a new manager into what can only be described as like a transfer deadline day rush to the 11 p.m. deadline. Lucien Favre. Who else have we got? Luis Enrique, Jules Lopetegui, Ralf Rangnick. Oh my God, Ernesto Valverde. So many names. Pochettino. What's going on with Poch? Look, I'm here this afternoon. As I said, this is an impromptu stream, but with everything that's going on right now, I said it to you this morning. I said it last night. I expect to be doing more live streams of you guys and girls, of course, because this story is continuing to develop extremely rapidly and extremely fast. And when certain journalists and certain things come out, I will bring it to you here live on United People's TV. And that's what we're going to run through here. Hope you're all doing well this afternoon. I'm going to waste no time. I'm not going to waste any of your time. This is me bringing you completely up to date with everything that's happened in the last few hours with Pochettino and Manchester United, with Ralf Rangnick and Manchester United, with who have we got on the list? We've got Lucien Favre, we've got Rudy Garcia, and we've got Ernesto Valverde. Updates on all of them. We're speaking about Ralf Rangnick as well. Jeez, man, it's busy, busy, busy. Let's get straight into it. As always, throughout this entire stream, you let me know where you're watching from in the comments, and I'll try and read out as many of your comments as possible. Let's go. And we go straight over to the Times, and we go straight over to Paul Hurst here, saying that PSG will not let Mauricio Pochettino leave for Manchester United in mid-season. PSG are unwilling to allow Pochettino to join Manchester United in the middle of the season. It is understood that intermediaries involved in the recruitment of United's new manager asked PSG if they could be persuaded to allow Pochettino to leave PSG now. That inquiry stopping me. I can't even speak properly. The inquiry was rebuffed, and the French club are willing to consider the possible exit of him only at the end of the season. And then that little snippet at the end there, before it goes into the point where you've got to pay for the article, unless Pochettino forces an exit in the coming weeks, it appears that United will have to wait until next summer for his services. And Paul Hurst is not the only person saying this. As I said, I'm going to run through updates from the Times, from the Telegraph, from ESPN, from Manchester Evening News, and also from RMC out in France. And it depends who you want to believe. It depends who you want to trust at this point. In my opinion, I think there might just be some sort of crossed wires here in how they're talking about intermediary approaches over Poch and PSG and actually going direct to PSG to speak about Pochettino. But Paul Hurst there is saying that PSG are unwilling to let Pochettino leave for the end of the season. In my opinion, the only reason that they would stop him leaving for the end of the season is if Zinedine Zidane has said no. We don't know at this point anything more than the fact that Julian Laurens from ESPN, I believe that was yesterday, said that Zidane is interested in the job. And that's the latest update we have on Zinedine Zidane. As it stands, we think he's interested in that job. And if he does go there, it's sort of Manchester United effectively find themselves in, I'm not sure, those of you in the comments now who have bought a house, and if you've ever bought a house and you've been involved in a chain means that, you're trying to buy a house and you've agreed a price with that person you're buying it from, but they need to find a house and they're struggling to find a house. They can't find the house that they want. So even though you've agreed a deal with the owners of the house that you want to buy, you have to sit and wait for them to find the house that they want to buy. And that's kind of the situation that Manchester United are into here with Pochettino and with Zinedine Zidane. Man United want Poch. The fact that we haven't had the fact that the talks are getting rebuffed, whether that's intermediary or not, I'll go into it. As I said, I'm going to be explaining those stories. But yeah, we're stuck in a bit of a chain here. And that's why it's a simpler conversation when we're talking about managers who are out of jobs. That's probably why we've interviewed the likes of Lucien Favre. We've interviewed the likes of Ernesto Valverde and Rudy Garcia. Is he out of a job as well? I'm not sure. But that's kind of the feeling I'm getting. And with Manchester United, as I said, it feels like a goddamn transfer deadline day. It's the 24th of November, ladies and gentlemen. We got things to do. Well, apparently not. Anyway, so I'm going to go across now to Jason Burt from The Telegraph. Jason Burt's piping in, and so is James Ducker, The Telegraph. They're having a busy day today. Let's go here. PSG are adamant that Poch will not leave before the end of the season. Let's go down here. PSG are adamant that Poch will not be allowed to leave before the end of this season. That's what Jason Burt is saying. Senior PSG, but this is where the story gets slightly confusing. Some PSG sources deny that there has been an approach from Manchester United for their head coach, but they are aware that he is interested in succeeding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So Jason Burt kind of going against what Paul Hurst is saying in the Times by saying, look, there has been no approach. Senior PSG sources deny there has been an approach from Manchester United. And if we skip over to James Ducker from The Telegraph here, this is where the story about the interims gather even more pace. Manchester United have interviewed Lucien Favre and Rudy Garcia for the interim role after Ernesto Valverde talks. So Manchester United have held interviews with 3 different potential interim managers here. Lucien Favre, Rudy Garcia, and Ernesto Valverde have all been interviewed for the role. What's your opinion on all of that? It's chaos. It is chaos right now. But with Manchester United, we don't know what's going on with Poch. I understand the idea of going for these interim managers. But what James Ducker's actually saying is that interim is what we've always been looking at first and foremost. Paul, what are you saying here? And I see in the comments, buddy. I'm really worried here. If we go with an interim until the end of the season, we might struggle to get players to re-sign contracts without knowing who the manager will be. I think Jesse Lingard's not re-signing that contract anyway. I don't think Paul Pogba is going to be signing a contract either. I don't think either of those 2 situations are affected by us getting a new manager or not. I think both of them are gone anyway. That's just my opinion, but we'll see. If we scroll down this article and let's read out what else James Ducker is saying on this. Lucien Favre and Rudy Garcia are the latest candidates to have been interviewed by Manchester United. And this one here, this is where it gets interesting. This bit down here. Manchester United are searching for an experienced interim manager to carry them through until the end of the season if a permanent candidate cannot be enticed. Poch wants the United job, but so far United have not made an approach to the French club to inquire about his immediate availability. So James Ducker here going against what Paul Hurst is saying. Now, my opinion here is that maybe they're just coming at it from slightly different angles. I think I'd be surprised if United hadn't gone with an intermediary and just say, look, can you just have a quick look, have a brief look, briefly talk to PSG and see what they're saying. I don't think we would have spoken to PSG directly. I don't think anything on that is going to happen until after the game. It's only happening in like a few hours between PSG and City. And then after that, depending on the result, I think maybe as well, it's just everything is up in the air. It's mad that Manchester United can somehow turn finding a new manager into what, as I said, can only be described as a transfer deadline day rush. Absolutely mad. Furthest escaped asking about what about Ralf Rangnick. I'm coming on to him next. Don't worry about it. I'm just going to give you all the updates here. So as I said, I'm listing off all the names because that's how big the update's been this afternoon. Paul Hurst from the Times, Jason Burt from the Telegraph, James Ducker from the Telegraph, and Rob Dawson from ESPN, as well as Samuel Luckhurst from Manchester Evening News. Everybody's been chirping in. Manchester United's inquiry for PSG's Pochettino have been rebuffed. Man United have had an initial inquiry about Poch knocked back by PSG, sources have told ESPN. Intermediaries tasked with assessing his situation have reported back that the French side are for now unwilling to talk. So again, different there. United believe it is likely Poch will only be available in the summer unless the former Spurs boss forces an exit. Sources have told ESPN that Poch would be keen on the vacancy. Now, you type this in the comments, type yes or no. Do you think there's any chance that Poch forces a move? Because if we're thinking about this logically, what could that change? There might be a clause inside his contract with PSG that means that if he was to force a move, that he's entitled to less compensation. That maybe PSG would be entitled to keep an X% of the compensation. But from everything that we've always known about Poch, he wants the United job. He's always wanted the United job. But will he push for an exit from PSG? When yesterday he said, I'm so happy in Paris. Yeah, of course you're happy in Paris. You'd be happier in Manchester. Let me look at the comments and see what you think about this. Let me see whether you think that he could force a move. Say, Jungle, you don't think so. And Takeoff and Anuj, none of you think so. Pedro, you disagree. You would say yes. So does Lee, Sreem. You think yes. Shashank, Myth, you think no. Stu, you no. Ant, you say no and don't want him either. Mr. Average Nearly Man. Well, it doesn't seem like you like it. Let's go down here. A split. A kind of a split comment section there on whether you think Poch will force a move. I don't think he'll force a move. I just don't. I don't think he'll force a move. I think he'll only. Yeah, I think he'll only leave if Zidane is ready for that job and going to take that job straight away. And at this moment, that is the biggest question mark. The question mark isn't around whether United want Poch. We want Poch. The question mark isn't around whether Poch wants United. Poch wants United. The question mark revolves around who will replace Poch at PSG. And at that moment, this moment in time, there is no answer for that. And until that has a definitive answer, you feel like this might hit a brick wall now with Poch. And that is exactly why what we've seen in the last 24 hours is United at the panic stations. We had like a 5-hour emergency meeting with the Glazers. Well, maybe this shortlist was drawn up there. Maybe it was. I don't know. But in the last 24 hours, United have interviewed Lucien Favre. Well, reports have come out that we've interviewed. I don't know when the interviews happened. But as far as we know, in the last couple of days, United have interviewed Lucien Favre, Rudy Garcia, and Ernesto Valverde. Now, I did a video earlier on Ernesto Valverde. Looks like I'm going to be a bit busy. Looks like I might have to do some more videos. And I'm going to be doing... Do I do another one on Ralf Rangnick? No, not yet. But you know the videos I've done on Ralf Rangnick and how I feel about him. And trust me, Ralf Rangnick, we're coming on to a conversation here. But we're skipping over now to the Manchester Evening News and seeing what they're saying on the situation because we have to take in every source into account. Manchester United have had an initial approach for Poch rejected by PSG. Let's scroll down and see what they're saying. United, zoom in, bitch. There we go. Oh, just swore. United officials have been encouraged that Poch might be tempted to join them mid-season and have made their first approach to PSG counterparts, but that was rejected. Seriously, that's what they're saying there. So you've got Manchester Evening News, you've got ESPN, and you've got the Times, all saying that Manchester United have made an approach for Pochettino that has been rebuffed and pushed back by PSG. On the other hand, you've got the Telegraph's two main journalists, in Jason Burt and James Ducker. They're saying something on the contrary. They're saying that United have not gone forward and pushed it with PSG in terms of talks. And as I said, it strikes me more as a case of I think everyone's probably telling the truth, and I think it might be coming from different angles. I just don't think nothing's been done directly to PSG, but I think we're going to be working through intermediaries. Simran, you think it's the big S word, the big spin word. This spin by our media team, the club are just being cheap. They don't want to spend money to get a permanent manager and a new coaching staff right now. An interim boss will cost a fraction of that. And although you're being mega cynical there, you're probably right to a certain degree. That probably is part of the conversation and the equation. And that's probably why, for example, we have had conversations and we have interviewed Lucien Favre, Rudy Garcia, and Ernesto Valverde. But at this moment in time, we haven't interviewed Ralf Rangnick because he's the one in work at Lokomotiv Moscow. And if we were to go after him, we'd probably have to pay a little bit for him. So as cynical as that comment was, it's probably not too far from the truth. Bilal, you're saying, as a Frenchman, let me tell you something. Rudy Garcia is worse than Solskjaer. Woo! Rudy Garcia getting the scathing comments there from Bilal. Ryan, what are you saying? These reports are far wider than the mark. Valverde, for example, his reps approached United and United were not interested. PR spin is fooling all United fans. As I said, what I'm doing is bringing you all the news, and it's really important to understand all the news that's being presented in front of us, because if we don't do that, then we can't truly sort of get a grand vision, a proper understanding about everything that's happening right now. And as I've said, because everything's going crazy right now, I'm guessing there's probably going to be stuff that's going to happen live on stream. So have a look. That's well. Let's see if this is true or not. This is from the Daily Mail. So again, take this with a mega pinch of salt, ladies and gents. They are saying that this is the shortlist. Manchester United have identified a 5-man shortlist for the interim manager role. Ernesto Valverde, Lucien Favre, Rudy Garcia, Ralf Rangnick, and Paulo Fonseca. What would you think about that? If we head over quickly to Manchester Evening News, we can see this. I was going to go on to it next, and why not go into it right now? Manchester United are interested in Ralf Rangnick as the interim manager, coming from Samuel of the Luckhurst. He's saying that Manchester United have shortlisted Ralf Rangnick to take over as interim manager. United have had their initial approach for Poch rejected, but remain confident of appointing him as the next permanent manager. Let's scroll down here, and this is an important sentence. Where is it? Where is it? Has he updated the article? My God, this is annoying. Look how bad this website is. Jeez. There you go. Rangnick, currently the head of sports development at Lokomotiv Moscow, is believed to be Manchester United's preferred option to manage the club for the rest of the season. So Manchester Evening News and Samuel Luckhurst saying that Ralf Rangnick, if you're looking at that shortlist there, he sits atop the shortlist. And we all know what I think about Ralf Rangnick. Having done those videos that I did, I'm going to be very surprised if there's another candidate out of those 5 there. Let's have a look. Let's pull it up. But out of those 5 there, who would impress me any more than what Ralf Rangnick did? But that apparently is a 5-man shortlist. Valverde, Favre, Garcia, Rangnick, and Fonseca. How old is Fonseca? So look. See if he's the same age as all of them, because they are all extremely. I thought he was quite young. I thought he was younger, wasn't he? 48, a little bit younger, not mega younger. But they're all far more experienced than someone like Michael Carrick is. Who would be your choice? Type it in the comments now. Out of those 5 there, Valverde, Favre, Garcia, Rangnick, and Fonseca, who do you think would be the best interim appointment out of all of those? Let me know in the comments now, and we'll have a quick discussion. But yeah, the only way I can describe the last few days from Manchester United is a proper scramble, an absolute scramble. And Pochettino and our approaches for Pochettino, clearly, it was our intention, I think, to sign him. But now what we're seeing, this might be a PR spin, right? This might be a PR spin, is we're hearing that Manchester United always wanted to go after an interim manager. And it's always been our intention to sign an interim manager and not go after a permanent one. That might just be like a United reversing when they realise they can't get Pochettino or Ten Hag, who are the 2 standout candidates for the job on a permanent basis. I'll head down to the comments here and see what you're saying. But it was an excellent comment from Mo saying 900 viewers, only 100. Come on, people, drop a like on the video, please. Rangnick, says David. Barry, you say Rangnick. Rangnick's Ralph. Mal, Rangnick. I'll tell you what. It's looking. I'm not just. There are some that say Valverde, but majority of people down here ain't nothing but a Rangnick party. That's what I call it. Paolo Rangnick. Who's he? Some sort of hybrid. But that's what it seems like right here. Maybe I've just convinced you. Maybe my PR about Rangnick has convinced you that he's the right option. But Manchester United seemingly looking intensely now for an interim option. When we spoke about that this morning. And when I spoke about it last night, when the Valverde stories came out, I said, you know what? I like the fact that Manchester United are looking for like a backup option, just in case the Poch situation doesn't go through. By the looks of it, I might have misunderstood the situation. It may well have been at that point that United were very much aware that they weren't going to be able to get Pochettino in, and that an interim manager had to be accelerated. And that's why we're going for it. But Valverde, Favre. So I've done videos on Rangnick. I've done a video now on Valverde. Looks like I might be a little bit busy. Looks like I might have to do a video on Favre, on Garcia, on Fonseca as well. I don't know. But, geez, there's more stories as well. We're not finished yet. This is coming from RMC News out in France, because it's important, as I've always said, to understand what the French press are saying at the same time as the British press, because they're going to get it from a different angle completely. And look, Tanzi, who writes for RMC, he's saying the same thing. Manchester United have made no direct approach to PSG to sign Poch. The situation is still the same. He's got a contract until 2023 and has not asked to leave the French capital. Paris has no plans to part with him at this particular moment in time. So reports from France corroborating what James Ducker and Jason Burt are saying at The Telegraph, that Manchester United have not made an approach. Another couple of names. You want more manager names? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Manager Tombola. This time, Fabrizio Romano has thrown up a couple of names, one of which I can't pronounce. Luis Enrique won't be involved in any talks with Manchester United. He's only planning for the World Cup with Spain, and he's not going to change his mind. I told you all to put Luis Enrique on the same pile as Diego Simeone. That won't happen, and that is the case. He's not coming in. Same with Mancini. That I jokingly took a look at the Christian Falk reports this morning, but Mancini was never going to do it. And Sevilla manager Jules Lopetegui also denied the United job chance. It seems absurd to me. What are you talking about? the actual absurdities of how many managers we're looking at. I don't know. It's like a lottery. As I said, I might actually, if someone can be asked, make that predicted manager 11. I think it'll be hilarious. I think that could be a tweet the bangs. That's all I'm saying. And tweet me and at me in it as well. I might do it myself because I like nothing more. Graham Souness says, Ant, you can get back to your criminal investigations rather than coming in here with any outrageous comments like Graham Souness on United People's TV. That's going to get you a straight ban, sir. But what's your opinions and reactions to everything? As I said, I don't typically go live at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. But with everything that's going on at the moment, I had to bring you updates on it so you can get them here from United People's TV, because I'd like you all to have the right information and all of the information. It's important to try and get as much context is everything in life, not just with football transfer news, with everything. It helps you understand the whole grand scheme of it all. And with today, as I said, updates from normally what you'd see in situations like this is maybe one journalist popping up and saying something. But because there's so many moving parts here, you've got Paul Hurst from the Times, James Ducker from the Telegraph, Jason Burt from the Telegraph, Fabrizio Romano, Rob Dawson from ESPN, Samuel Luckhurst from Manchester Evening News. Everybody's chirping in. Everybody's coming in and saying something about this whole situation. It's mad. It is mad. I'm waiting for Gary Neville to come in and be announced as another candidate for the job. Maybe Paul Scholes as well. Maybe Rio Ferdinand. Get all the boys back together. Get Quintin Fortune in there. Get Mikael Silvestre in there. Eric Jemba, you can come back for a party as well. Hell, even David Prunier is invited. Why not? I'm laughing about it. I'm crying inside. It's just, it is Manchester United. The circus continues. We thought that the circus might be ending after Solskjaer, but we didn't see what was behind the curtain. And this is behind the curtain. There's 4 jugglers all trying to juggle on unicycles, and none of them can juggle. One of them's good at juggling, trying to keep everyone propped up together. I don't know whether John Murtough's the juggler, but he's the person in contact. That was the saving grace I took from this morning. I said, look, at the very, very least, we've got to be happy that that Murtough is involved in leading these conversations, because that's what we need. We need him to be the man who's leading these chats, because he's our director of football, right? And if you don't have your director of football doing that, then what's the point? What is the point? I've been told to check Manchester Evening News' latest tweet, but I can't see Manchester Evening. What is their sport account? Manchester Evening News. MEN. I think it's MEN. Let's have a look. Men News Desk. That's a news desk. I don't rightly know. I'll have a look after. Mate, what are United doing to me? Why can't it just be simple? Why can't anything with our club just be simple? Jesus. But yeah, it's the Mail coming out with that 5-man shortlist. Really looks like, oh, jeez. Steve Bruce's agent has offered his services to Manchester United, whilst Unai Emery is another option. Oh, God. Jesus, man. My God. Honestly, you may as well give it to Tony Pulis at this point. Ralf Rangnick is the one I want acceleration and movement with. Ralf Rangnick. Why are United not going? Let me know what you think about that in the comments. We've interviewed, let me pull the story up here for those of you who have only just joined in now. This is the breaking story from literally in the last hour. Manchester United have held interviews with Lucien Favre, Rudy Garcia, and Ernesto Valverde. So that's 3 managers we've held interviews with over the interim role. And if this shortlist is indeed correct, then there are 2 more interviews that will be happening. Ralf Rangnick and Paulo Fonseca. You let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Oh. Madness. We all thought, we all hoped, we all hoped that we could go and lure Poch away from PSG. I wouldn't rule that out completely still. I'm standing by that. If Poch wants that job enough, and with Poch, again, it's all about botched moves to United, because he's had a couple of them. Would he want to take the risk of someone like, I don't know, Valverde, Favre, Garcia, hell, even Carrick, maybe staying until the end of the season, maybe something else happening between now and then? It would be a slight risk for Poch to do that. And it depends how much he wants the job. I asked you in the comments whether you felt that he would force his move away from PSG to United. The overwhelming majority of you felt in the comments that he wouldn't force a move. I tend to agree with you. That's probably what my gut says, is that he wouldn't force a move. But I don't truly know how much he wants the United job. So if he wants it more than I think he does, then maybe he would be willing to do that. Let me go down here and read a few of your comments out. Yash, you're saying Glazers don't want Rangnick because he'll call out their BS in the club. And that's, again, a cynical point of view, but I think there's probably an element of truth inside that. Rangnick is the one out of all of those. I'm going to have to look into Valverde, Favre, and Garcia and Fonseca in a bit more detail before I can fairly give this assumption. But having looked at Rangnick and the amount of different roles he's had inside clubs, from being a manager to being a coach to being a sporting director to being a global communications director to being a global brand ambassador, not director for being. He was sporting director at 2 clubs at the same time. Red Bull Leipzig and Red Bull Salzburg in Austria and Germany at the same time. That takes a ridiculous amount of organization skills and ability to be able to do that, and probably multiple languages as well. And yeah, but he's such an, as I said, a very, very impressive guy, a very, very experienced manager. The question I've got about this interim manager, and this is something you need to let me know because I'm concerned about this. I'm genuinely concerned. Do you think there's any chance that this interim manager comes in and Manchester United actually intend to keep Carrick, Fletcher, and McKenna on? You let me know what you think about that in the comments below, because surely, and that's a big thing. If you look at Valverde, out of job, are his coaching staff available that were there at Barcelona? Would they be any good for United? I don't know. I'd have to research into that. Same goes for Favre. Same goes for Garcia, and the same goes for Rangnick, who isn't a manager right now. What happens with their coaching setups? None of them really come with that. Pochettino, if he came in, he'd just bring all his PSG staff with him. And what Manchester United need is a full package. We don't want like a 6-inch from a Subway. We want a full 12-inch. And getting a manager without the coaches is a 6-inch. It's just not going to satisfy the hunger. We need that full 12-inch Subway. Bin Sarah, you're saying Rangnick until the end of the season, then as a director of football along with Murto. Murto could also learn from Rangnick. Of course he could. And as I said, there's so much logic. There's so much logic when it comes to Rangnick coming in, working as our manager for the year on an interim basis, then moving upstairs and then continuing the work that he started and moving upstairs. I mean, there's so much sense. So much sense that it probably won't happen. Hey, Zayn saying, hi, mate. You're a prat too. Take it easy, buddy. Nice to see you there. Sam, I was a top fan of this page. Why is my batch not being displayed? I'm not sure, buddy. Drop me a DM on Twitter. I'll try and fix that for you. Joe Snow, that's a shame. That's a real shame for you, mate. You need to work on getting that 12-inch. It doesn't grow. It doesn't grow anymore. Sorry, mate. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Why would Poch want the United job, says Chandler. United made promises to him and his team and appointed Solskjaer. Payback is a bitch. Why would Poch want the United job? It's a rhetorical question. Poch has always wanted the United job. It doesn't matter what's happened in the past. It's still Manchester United. It's a different look team, and he would love nothing more than to come back to the Premier League and manage Manchester United. That's my opinion anyway. Rangnick all day long. So many of you want Rangnick, and I'll be honest, I'm probably partly responsible for that because of the videos that I've done, because of the videos you've watched here as a community. We've taken a look into Rangnick, and we can understand just how incredibly intelligent he is about his philosophies and his principles and his style, and how, the thing that really, the word I always use was impressed when I talked about Ralf Rangnick and his ability to explain very complicated processes and philosophies in a foreign language were just fantastically good. But yeah, he would be too sensible. Fat Sam, says J Key. And I swear to God, I know you're all joking in the comments here, but we probably will get linked with Steve Bruce properly. Andy Mitten said that he was interested in the job. And oh my God, so come on, Steve. Steve, you've just got a big payout from Newcastle. Let's not be silly. But the only thing worse than that would probably be Carrick getting on a full-time basis. Or would that actually be worse? I don't know. But we shouldn't really be doing this. Manchester United's shortlist has 5 people on. It's not really that short a list, is it? That's 5 different managers with 5 different styles, 5 different philosophies, and 5 different approaches. That's a list. It's not a short list. A short list is maybe 2 or 3. Probably 3 at the max. I'll give you 3. That's a short list. 5 is just a full-blown first draft of a list. And it kind of only goes to show that the madness is continuing inside our club, really, that what I've witnessed in the last 72 hours is really has been chaotic. It's gone from Poch and the swings on Poch. I still won't rule Poch out completely. I know that's kind of what the stories are suggesting right now, that PSG won't let him go. But I think that could change extremely quickly. And all of that depends. As I explained it, the analogy earlier was about saying that United are in a chain of buying houses. United have got the house that we want to buy. We've already put the offer in. It's been accepted. But that house, PSG, need to find their new house. That club, sorry, PSG. They need to find their new house in the Zidane or some other manager. And at the moment, they don't have that. So we've got to wait for that to be done before we can move in. That's the way that I would explain the situation with PSG and Poch. And tonight's game, let's be honest, against City, is probably very, very important. Let me have a quick look at the Champions League groups. Obviously, United top of their group. Too easy. Too easy, the Champions League. Jeez. May as well give this trophy now. I mean, if you want to, that'd be nice. But if we have a quick look here at the Champions League groups and see what PSG and City are saying, well, there you go. It's pretty straightforward. PSG are through. Whether or not they go through as group winners is very much going to depend on tonight's game. Pretty much will. I don't know who plays Leipzig in the last game, but PSG need to win tonight. Well, if City win tonight, they're already through as group winners. Simple as that. So it's going to be an important game in that sense. But they're already 4 points clear of Bruges with 2 games remaining. And if they were to screw up that qualification from that group, then Poch will probably get the sack. Let alone Poch coming and being allowed to talk to Manchester United. Let's go down here and see what you're saying in the comments. United should go and get Ten Hag, says Real Shows them. Hey, look, man, you know what I think about Ten Hag. And honestly, out of the choices that are available to us and the idea of a long-term manager coming in the summer, I would love nothing more than Ten Hag in the summer. He was my first choice. He still remains my first choice. He's not Manchester United's first choice. Not right at the moment. That's Pochettino for sure. As I said, there's no smoke without fire. And there's been just so much noise around Poch in the last 72 hours. He absolutely has to be top of our list. Let me head down here and see if there's any more updates to bring you from the lovely world of Twitterati and see if anything else has been kicking off. Nothing at this particular moment in time. So to give a quick 30-second summary of everything that's happened in this video, you've got the Times and Paul Hurst saying that. Let's go over. Let's quickly do this. Let's do this together. You've got the Times here saying that PSG will not let Poch go mid-season. That's what the Times is saying. We scroll over here to the Telegraph, and they're saying PSG are adamant that Poch will not leave before the end of the season. We go over here to James Ducker, and he's saying that Manchester United have held interviews with Lucien Favre, Rudy Garcia, and Ernesto Valverde. So 3 on that 5-man shortlist. We had a look at the whole shortlist, and the other 2 apparently are Ralf Rangnick and Paulo Fonseca. ESPN and Rob Dawson here saying that Man United have had their approaches for PSG rebuffed by PSG. And Loic Tanzer, who writes for RMC out in France, he's saying the same thing. The Manchester United have made no approaches. Actually, not the same thing, the complete opposite. So yeah, it's a bit twisty-turvy. Depends who you want to believe, who you don't want to believe. And Samuel Luckhurst is saying that Rangnick's actually the top of the list. And if Rangnick is the top of the list, I would ask you, why the hell has he not been interviewed there? Then, if Rangnick really is top of the list, then why have we already talked to Favre, to Valverde, and Garcia? If he was top of our list, we wouldn't have spoken to any of them. We would have spoken to him first. That's my opinion anyway. And then we head over here to more news. And Manchester United News just weighing in on the whole situation, saying United have had initial approach for Poch, rejected by PSG. A random point here. This has to be one of the most beggy things I've ever seen in my entire life. I've seen some beggy things. This is right up there with the best of the begs. This Manchester United fan saw Poch inside the PSG team hotel, and he was happy to give him an autograph on a Manchester United shirt. So some United fan has got his shirt signed by Pochettino, that's nearly as bad as that City fan who got who was it a tattoo of? I can't remember. Some City fan got a tattoo of someone and they didn't end up signing him. I think it was Ronaldo actually. But my word, that is some serious begging going on there. Deary me, mate. Deary me. And you trust Boris Johnson more than Samuel Luckhurst. Well, I know you're not alone in that feeling. But as I said, I'm bringing you all the news here. You as a human being are entitled to make your own opinion based on all said news. But my job here on United People's TV is to bring and present all the news to you. rather than forcing an opinion down your throat, I want to try and be as objective as possible. It's not always possible. I'll be honest, sometimes I'll give my opinion as well. But Joe Snow, you're saying we're acting like West Brom at the moment when they signed Pepe Mel as manager. Who? Who's Pepe Mel? Have I just read a comment out there? Have I just been done? Pepe Mel. Yeah, I've no idea. I've no idea what happened there. But yeah, it really seems like United are at sixes and sevens. Sixes and sevens, I call it. United don't know what's going on. United, in my gut instinct here is that United went all out to get Poch, have had an initial approach for Poch pushed back. That's happened yesterday, and Manchester United's response to that has been to ignite Plan B into action. And that's why we've had interviews with Lucien Favre, with Rudy Garcia, and with Ernesto Valverde. That strikes me as the Plan B option that's been sort of put into place, because the Poch stuff is getting rebuffed. Now, I think if that Poch stuff changes, and I think it can, it all revolves around Zinedine Zidane. So when it comes to Poch updates from now on, we'll all watch the game tonight. We'll see what Poch says after the game. We'll see how PSG play. We'll watch it keenly, knowing that United are sniffing around. And we'll see what Poch has to say. We'll see what PSG's reaction is. And over the next couple of days, no doubt in the build-up to the weekend, we might get some more developments on everything that is going on. Carl, you're saying, love your open mind to everything, Sam. Hey, Carl, that's what, look, as I said, you've got to. You can't just rule things out because you want to rule things out. That's called being closed-minded. And that's when you start, that's when agendas happen. People love using the word agendas, but that's truly what an agenda is. When your mind is blocked to one side of an argument and you're literally just, it's a bit like Gary Neville, a little bit like Gary Neville when his agenda was, I'm not going to say sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So he just said everything else possible apart from that, even if inside his own mind he was thinking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to be sacked. And that's why people sort of kind of not fell out, but you know what I mean, started to think that he was a bit undermining himself as a pundit. If you know, a pundit is supposed to be like me, like they're objectively saying what is right and what is wrong. But you know, it's football and it's very hard to be objective 100% of the time. Everybody knows that. Let me go down here and read a few more of your comments out here. David saying, gosh, this is torture being a United fan. Stop dragging your feet and get someone in ASAP, Rocky. Oh, well, this is United, right? This isn't the first time that we've all been like, oh my God. Jadon Sancho? No, 2 years. Edinson Cavani on deadline day, even though he was available for free all summer long. Man United have just made some madness decisions for a long, long time. Shanda, what are you saying here? PSG got burned last season by sacking Tuchel. 4 months later, he won the Champions League with Chelsea. They'll be scared of history repeating itself. Okay, that's a fair comment. I'm not sure that's going to have too much persuasion in terms of changing PSG's mind or making their mind up. But maybe that's something that they are thinking about. Rory, how you doing there, buddy? This club is such a mess. How long ago was Liverpool? Now we're scrambling. There has to be an effort to publicly highlight Woodward now. Rory, I did that during the international break. I did an entire video where he was the bloody face of it. I did a Joker Photoshop. Actually, found a Joker Photoshop and I put it on. Yeah, I've tried my hardest, and everybody will try their hardest, but ultimately they seem to get away with it, right? They seem to get away with murder. They seem to get away with running our club into the ground. And United are a circus, utter circus. I'm sorry. When Norwich sacked Daniel Farku and they got in Dean Smith, did they have a short list of 5 people that they immediately started to interview? No, it was just like, no, we want Dean Smith. Dean, do you want a job? In you come, mate. Hey, Dean Smith's in. Aston Villa sacked Dean Smith. Did they have a short list of 5 managers that they started to interview and start putting them all on the board and like having big? No, they just went Steven Gerrard's arm, man. Steven, do you want a job? Rangers, how much you want? 2 mil. There you go. Steven, in you come. Boom. Both of them won their first games in charge. Clubs who have plans don't have shortlists of 5 managers. Simple as that. A 5-man shortlist is not a shortlist. A 5-man shortlist is a list, is an initial draft list. It's like, how many names can I think of managers that are available? Let me just put them all down on a piece of paper. That's not a shortlist. And what you're saying, something I'm curious about. Oli was only ever meant to be temporary. So would you expect the club to have already prepared a short list of managers back then? Where is that list now? Did they ever write a list? Let's be honest. As soon as Solskjaer started winning there, you knew that we were going to be you knew that he was going to get the job. Can't compare us to a lesser team, says Takeoff. No, I think you absolutely can. Norwich, you might call it a lesser team. Norwich and Aston Villa are both Premier League teams. There's only 20 of them in the entire world. They're all big clubs. Manchester United might be on a different stratosphere altogether, but they're all major clubs and they all have plans, executed them, got rid of the manager, knew where they were going next. United haven't and didn't do that. We know that. Otherwise, we would have sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer during the international break. 2 weeks we had after City, 2 weeks after Liverpool, 4 weeks we had after Liverpool. And yet we sit here with the panic situation. John Jones, yes, Sam, but a quick decision doesn't necessarily mean you made the right choice. Fair enough, fair comment. But I think they both made the right choices. I think we can all see that. And I think that both of them, those managers, suit those situations. And so I don't think they didn't make that choice overnight. They knew they had their plan ready. That's what I'm saying. That's what Norwich and Aston Villa have done here. I'm not comparing us to their situations like, oh, look how quickly they're getting things done. Why can't you not do that quickly? In one hand, I am. But what I'm saying is that their plan was already there. And as soon as he got sacked, it wasn't like Man United are creating the shortlist now. Man United are planning during the crisis. Man United are reacting to everything that's going on in front of them. Norwich and Aston Villa, they didn't. They knew that their managers were going to get sacked. When they sacked them, they knew who they wanted. The shortlist was a shortlist because they'd done all their and said, there's your man. And they went and got him. That's what I'm saying is different here with Manchester United and the other clubs. What do I think of the Poch situation, says CC. I think Poch, two things could change it. Poch forcing a move out. Zidane properly saying yes to the job. Both of those could happen. Either of those could really sort of change the situation. It strikes me that it's probably more likely that we're going to be sitting here waiting for Zidane to make a move rather than Poch forcing an exit. I don't think he will force an exit from PSG because he'll lose money. Remember that? I don't know how. I don't know what the clause in this contract is, but I think it's around about 10 million euros for anybody to buy him out. But if he puts in a transfer request, whatever the managerial equivalent of that is, that would go down. He would lose I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just guessing here. Sam is the Gandalf of the United fan channel. Always broad-minded and level-headed. Gandalf. Fun fact for you there. Now that you just called me Gandalf, Gungshi, I know people said I've got wonky fingers before, right? You see that? So I was at a festival. Let's take a little 30-second interlude. I was at a festival. This is such a terrible story. I was at a festival last year or the year before. I think it was last year. And I was dressed as a crayon. It was the day we had to dress up as colours. There was 8 or 9 of us who dressed up as crayons. And there was a big stick. And you know when you go to festivals and you have your big flags that you wave? So I found a massive stick and I was Gandalf. So then everyone was taking a photo. And I decided to run up behind them and try and slam the stick into the ground. But it was a hot summer's day. And the ground was rock solid. So the stick didn't go in the ground. It shattered, went up my finger and broke 2 fingers. And I did that while shouting, "Thou shall not pass." So that was my Gandalf moment. So it's funny. You should call me Gandalf there. Just wanted to bring that out because that was quite a funny comment. Oh, Jesus. But yeah, you got to take some light interludes these days, really, with everything that's going on with Manchester United, don't you? Woo-wee. My God. What kind of festival was that, says Pedro? It was a good festival, actually. It's called Wilderness Festival. It's a very middle class festival. Here we go. This is what we've been waiting for, ladies and gents. Are you ready for the big one? Manchester United's managerial situation. It's sorted. The man himself. He's here. He's here to save the day. Steve Bruce's agent has offered his services to Manchester United. The savior. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. My God. I knew it would happen. This is what Andy Mitt was saying the other day, and I was joking. My God, Steve Bruce. Legitimately, I can't even remember the list of it now. It's like Steve Bruce, Lucien Favre, Ernesto Valverde, Daniel Rangnick, Rudy Garcia, Unai Emery. That's 7 off the top of my head. And there's definitely we need this. We need this starting 11. Someone's asking for the soundboard. Boo! 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 That's what happens when when Bruce gets linked with the job. My God, I knew it would happen. This is really is an absolute shit show. It really is an absolute shit show. I'm laughing, but I'm crying inside with my broken Gandalf finger. But look, things are bad, man. Things are bad. I got excited early this week. It's like I refer to it. It's like me being excited for the Atalanta game. And I was like, ooh, it feels a bit different. It feels like United could do something. And that was after Spurs. And then we know what happened then. I thought after Solskjaer's sacking, and I saw everything really accelerating with Pochettino, I was like, wow, United really are doing something different. I was like, you know what? This feels different. It looks different. It looks like United are getting their act together. Now it's Wednesday, and the whole house is crumbling. Poch is, well, it depends who you believe there, but reports coming out that Manchester United have had an initial approach for Poch rejected by PSG. And Manchester United are really now aggressively pushing for an interim manager. Our shortlist is not short whatsoever, with 5 names on it. Let's go through that shortlist one more time before we wrap up here this afternoon. We've got Ernesto Valverde, who I've done a video on. Make sure you check that out on United People's TV if you would. Lucien Favre, Rudy Garcia, Ralf Rangnick, Paulo Fonseca. My God, if I did full stories and I did like tactical breakdowns of all of those managers, I'm not going out this weekend. I'm not going anywhere. May as well just live in this room. Jeez. I swear to God, I'm waiting for Tony Pulis. I'm waiting for Tony Pulis' name to come out from somewhere. That's going to happen at some point. But look, thank you all for joining in. Thank you for the Gandalf comment, by the way. It was a nice little bit of light-hearted relief in what is quite a frustrating time. This really is, it feels like a transfer deadline day. It feels like a transfer situation where United are a circus. We don't know who's going to be our manager soon, but that's apparently the shortlist. We've interviewed 3 of them. What's happening with Ralf Rangnick? That's what I want to know. United, go and interview him. Go and speak to him. Why have you not already spoken to him? That's annoying me. Let's see if anything changes on that. If you're new here, first time I'm saying this right at the end of the stream. If you're new here, welcome to United People's TV. I'm sure lots of you are new because I don't normally go live at this time. But I am going to be doing plenty of live streams throughout this whole situation. If you want to keep bang up to date with everything that's happening with our search for a new manager, you're going to get it here on United People's TV. And if you would, please consider subscribing. Please consider joining as a member, coming into the United People's TV community. There's a link in the comments of this on both Facebook and YouTube. Your way of coming closer into the middle of the United People's TV community, joining the WhatsApp group, and also your way of supporting the channel. Maybe I'll be back later on. I hope not. No offense. Maybe I'll be back later on. I'll definitely be here tomorrow morning at 9:30, as I always am. Later on, we've got the game between PSG and City. Let's see what goes on. But we somehow are no closer to getting a manager than we were after Solskjaer got sacked, and it's been like 4 days. That's Man United for you right now. Proper circus.